Greetings and salutations. Today we'll be covering the confounding case of the Lady Bird Lake serial killer, or as it is alternatively known, the Rainy Street Killer. Unlike our usual cold cases, this one is currently ongoing, meaning that the facts may shift and change with each passing day. So this video will be a little bit different, since the case is still currently unfolding. Lady Bird Lake is a popular recreational area in Austin, Texas, and it has become the epicenter of a mystery, which has left many residents of the area fearing for their safety. This is due to 8 bodies having been uncovered in the last 10 months within the lake. The situation has been noted to have escalated to the point where citizens have dubbed this as a supposed mass murderer and started to refer to them as either the Lady Bird Lake serial killer or the Rainy Street Killer. The latest victim was John Christopher Hayes Clark, and his body was discovered in the lake on April 17, 2023. His identity was confirmed, however, it is still unclear how long his body had been in the water. This recent discovery has added fuel to the fire of a serial killer being on the loose in the area, driving many of the residents to voice their concerns on a plethora of social media platforms, from Facebook to TikTok. Despite this, the Austin Police Department has released a statement declaring that there is no evidence of foul play in the incidents. However, such a large amount of deaths has caused many people to remain doubtful about their statements, leading them to believe that authorities are not doing enough to solve the mystery. One of the victims is Jonathan Honey, a 33-year-old who was visiting Austin for a bachelor party, is widely considered the first victim. He was discovered on March 2023. His death was supposedly shortly followed by Jason John and Cliff Axtell, whom were both also found in Lady Bird Lake. These incidents caused widespread concern amongst the public, due to there also being 4 other bodies which have yet to be identified. All of these bodies were recovered within the past 10 months, leaving many to wonder if they will get the answers they so desperately seek. While authorities claim that they do not suspect foul play, many of the residents have gone so far in the belief that there is some type of serial killer to have formed a private Facebook group aptly dubbed the Lady Bird Lake serial killer, which has garnered more than 50,000 followers since the discovery of Jason John's body. It must be noted that the autopsies for the 4 men who died and are not yet identified are currently not available. However, the police have reported that their bodies show no signs of trauma, and Austin police confirmed that they are still investigating the cases and analyzing the evidence. They added that the cases seem to share a combination of alcohol and easy access to certain points of the lake, which could be hard to see at night, leading to a potential accidental drowning. However, investigators have not yet released all the details pertaining to the whereabouts of the victims prior to their deaths. It is noted that Jonathan and Jason were seen on Rainy Street before their disappearances. Rainy Street is known for its vibrant nightlife and hosting a wide array of bars and food trucks, along with various restaurants and other locales. This is located 1.8 miles or a 35-minute walk, dependent on health and physical condition, away from Lady Bird Lake. Despite the police claim that the cases vary in circumstances, exact locations, and demographics, Jason John's family seems to firmly believe that there is more behind the story of their son's death, and that the 4 men are somehow connected. Ellis John, Jason John's mother, would go on to tell Fox 7. Jason was 30, Jonathan Honey was 33, so there are some similarities in the case. The lack of cameras around the lake has also raised several concerns amongst the residents. While the investigation is still ongoing, fear and speculation concerning the mysterious deaths which continue to grip the community. The deaths of the 4 men in Lady Bird Lake, Austin, this year has caused quite the amount of alarm in the residents. The body of Jonathan Honey was was found on April 1st after he had disappeared from a food truck on Rainey Street. This shares a similarity to the disappearance of Jason John, who was 30 and was found dead on February 13th, a week after he was last seen once again on Rainey Street. Cliff Axtell, a married father of 2, was found dead in Lady Bird Lake on March 5th after he went missing near Stubbs in downtown on February 25th. The most recent discovery was that of Jason Christopher Hayes Clark, whose body was found despite the high number of deaths in such a short amount of time. For some reason, the authorities believe that foul play is not involved. The police have gone as far as to state that the most the cases share is access to alcohol and access to the lake itself. However, it is not just these cases that have added to the speculation of a serial killer being in the area. There have been previous cases which have occurred around the lake. This includes Christian Prug, who was found alive in the lake in 2019. However, he was considered to be in quite the rough condition, having sustained a blow to the head and bruised hands. There's also the case of Julio Santos, a 22-year-old in 2015, and the case of Martin Gutierrez in 2018, who were both found dead in the lake, with the latter sustaining several injuries after landing in the lake, following what was supposedly a night out at Rainey Street, which again was the same place that Jonathan Honey was last seen. It is notable that there are claims that the police have not released any details about the whereabouts of any of these men. The mysterious deaths of these men being around water and supposedly being in areas where there are visible smiley faces marking the area have led some to believe that these cases might have some connection to the smiley face killers, which is a theory that was advanced by retired New York City detectives Kevin Gannon and Anthony Duarte, as well as Dr. Lee Gilbertson, who is a criminal justice professor and gang expert at St. Cloud State University, who had alleged that certain men who were considered to have drowned had not accidentally drowned, as had been concluded by the law enforcement agencies, but instead were victims of foul play of some sort. This theory draws parallels to the recent deaths of the men found in Lady Bird Lake, due to many of the victims in the smiley face killers theory also being young, generally athletic men, believably high achieving, and being around bodies of water, where in these cases the men's bodies showed no obvious signs of damage. The retired NYPD detective's theory goes as follows. There are claims that the evidence shows that at least 100 men may have been murdered by a gang or an organization. One key part of the evidence is smiley face graffiti symbols being found at all the sites where the bodies were recovered. This once more draws a parallel to the deaths in Lady Bird Lake, having also had smiley faces in the areas where it is believed the men drowned. Although law enforcement and many experts have been largely skeptical of the smiley face killer theory, some autopsies have claimed that the victims have shown a combination of alcohol, which again seems to parallel this case, and what is supposedly a hypnotic depressant, which is used in a similar manner as a roofie. Is not known if it was in the system of the Lady Bird Lake victims' bodies, or at least not publicly known. This, along with the reports of smiley faces spray painted at all the sites where bodies have been found, seems to be all that is supposedly tying the smiley face murders together. The deaths of the young men in bodies of water, with the smiley face killer's theory looming over the minds of some who believe there is a serial killer amongst the residents of Austin. The question remains in the minds of some: is there a killer amongst them? And while controversial, the smiley face murders theory links the deaths of men found in bodies of water across the entirety of the United States, not just in New York or in Texas. However, many police departments, along with criminal profilers, dispute this theory, arguing that the evidence does not support the claims of a serial killer. In particular, La Crosse, Wisconsin Police Department, which has been in charge of 8 investigations that were claimed to be parts of the smiley face murders, concluded that the deaths were accidental drownings of inebriated men, which is also a solid possibility to what could have occurred to the men who have been found to have died in Lady Bird Lake, due to some of them being known to have alcohol in their system at the time of their deaths. Now, aside from the possibility of a group of killers preying on young men through alcohol-related drownings, there are those who believe that there is a singular serial killer, which is unconnected to the Smiley Face murders at large in Austin. The mysterious deaths of the 8 men found in Lady Bird Lake over the past 10 months have a rather large amount of concern. It must be noted that bodies have been found in the lake dating back to 2008. The recent surge in bodies found, including 6 found just between 2018 and 2019 in the surrounding area of Lady Bird Lake, particularly the rather vibrant area of Rainy Street, seems to form a connective tissue between all these cases, regardless of how much the Austin Police Department's statements affirm that there is no foul play. Speculation remains rife with the possibility of a serial killer being in the area due to this concentration of deaths, along with the victims' demographics and circumstances seeming to loosely match up. However, despite over 56,000 members of a Facebook group, amongst others, discussing and theorizing about the possibility of a serial killer residing in Austin, all that they've been able to amass is that the men were in their 30s with alcohol in their systems, leading many to believe men in their 30s is a key demographic being targeted by a potential serial killer. As questions about aspects of the men's particular deaths and disappearances remain unanswered, residents are left fearful and wondering, is it safe to stay outside? However, the police department states that alcohol seems to be a large part of why the men died. Despite this, as the investigation continues, the possibility of a serial killer being active and at large in Austin remains a chilling theory for many a resident. As it stands, the case of the Lady Bird Lake killer remains unsolved, and the fear and speculation surrounding it continues to grow. Now, if you have any information about these mysterious deaths, please come forward and help bring justice to these victims, along with closure to their families. Anyone with information about the case may contact APD's homicide unit at 512-477-3588. If you remained with me until the end, I thank you, and I do hope you stay tuned and subscribe for more content.